Alrighty, hey, welcome back to the FunnyGuyTimmy podcast. I am here with my friend Devin Powell, also known as
RhymerMan.
RhymerMan. You have a YouTube channel and Facebook page, right?
Yes.
Where we can find you. Okay. I'm gonna put those links in the description. Y'all can check him out. He does shows in Austin, Texas.
Yes.
Anywhere else that people can regularly find you in person?
Pretty much just Austin, Texas, right?
Pretty much just Austin, Texas. Okay. Anyway, he's actually here. We're not going to talk about music this time. We can later, but we actually wanted to talk about movies and superhero movies in general. We just came back from seeing Deadpool. Which was a lot of fun. And the reason that I wanted to go see it was because it is literally the opposite of what has been happening with a lot of superhero movies, why a lot of superhero movies fail, and why a lot of movies fail in general. What a lot of people don't know is that when there's a bad movie, they blame the actors, they blame the director, and stuff like that. Those are the first people to get blamed. But guess who really is at fault? I mean, Ben Affleck, what was the movies that he really gets hammered for?
Daredevil and Geely.
Daredevil and Geely. Those aren't really his fault, you know? No. Those are not like those. That's writing, directing, and this is the big one, producing. Producer is like he has like 85% of the blame. I mean, he's the majority of what happens. I mean, here's how this works in the industry. The company, whether it's like Warner Brothers or Marvel or Disney or whatever, they get a producer, someone whose job is to make money. This person normally doesn't have any talent. They're just a guy who has connections, who can make phone calls and get the right people in, and then gives, hands out the money that he's been given from the company to these people to make this thing happen.
Right.
But he's the guy who all these other people work for. He calls the shots. And he only looks at numbers. So he's looking at what's popular nowadays, what movies are making money. So, Transformers made a lot of money. Avatar made a lot of money. Big blockbuster action movies, they made a lot of money. Family-friendly CGI, all that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that he looks at. That's why there's a lot of movies nowadays that lean that way. Ninja Turtles.
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay is a great example of making money. This dude is killer at making money.
Oh, yeah.
This guy knows what the people want to see. Are his movies all great? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. He can ruin childhoods very easily, but he's amazing at making money. He's a great example of a producer making money. And I believe not the Transformers. Transformers he directed, but the Ninja Turtles he
just produced.
And again, it's the exact same formula. He knows what people want. Big action movies.
That shit.
Yeah, exactly.
He still has some input. They could use a couple of more explosions over here.
Yeah, it's just we're good. But now here's some movies of recent that went terribly. Fantastic Four, but we will forever know it as Fan4stick.
I blame the studio for that one.
Yes, exactly. The studio had a huge hand in the movie. They didn't let the director do what he wanted. They didn't let the writers do what they wanted. They didn't let the actors do what they wanted. They didn't let anyone who had talent do what they wanted or do anything that they were hired to do. They had way too much control. They pushed people out of the way, and they just went in and they just wedged themselves in between everything, called the shots, ruined the movie, supposedly.
Well, I mean, at the same time, you got to look at it from their perspective. After you put about 100, 200 million into a film, after a certain point, you just kind of start getting nervous, and you want to make sure that makes money. So a lot of times they start playing it safe. That doesn't make it right. It doesn't excuse it.
Right.
But I do kind of understand why they might make that mistake.
Right. Right. But that's literally it. They get nervous. They want to make money back. Now, there's a couple ways that films make money. Number one is the box office. The first few days in the box office.
And the one that counts the most in their eyes.
It's the one that counts the most in eyes. But a lot of movies make back their money slowly over time. Especially
classics.
Yeah, cult classics are a great example. Like The Evil Dead.
Oh yeah.
Evil Dead is worth 1,000 times what it actually cost to make it. I mean, what was it like a couple $1,000? to make Evil Dead. It was a shoestring budget.
It was only a few $1,000s, but I actually recall that doing very well in theaters, considering its limited release.
Yeah. Yeah, because people liked it, and they kept coming back, kept bringing their friends, like, dude, this is amazing. Yeah. I actually have a book of Bruce Campbell, and he actually talked about how they made that movie and had a lot of
It wouldn't happen to be if Chins could kill, would it?
Yes, it is.
You gotta let me borrow that sometime.
I will. He actually talked about, Sam Raimi, and since they were on such a low budget, what they had to do to make these shots. And one of them was they took a wood board and put oil across it, like car oil. And they had the camera on a box, and they just slid that box across the oil. That is what happens when there's no producers in your way, when there's no studio, and you let creative people do what creative people do.
You have to be creative. And ingenuity is your best friend at that point.
Now, is this an amazing movie? Is this a blockbuster? Hell no. Mm-hmm. This is not a blockbuster film. But it got a lot of people like really into it because it was creative, because creative people got to do what creative people do. Deadpool is a great example of when the studio gets out of their way.
Gets the out of the way. So we could put more in there.
Just totally gets out of their way.
So like Ryan Reynolds in the I'm just gonna call it Ryan Reynolds in the gang.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
It's like they played it smart. They're just like, you know what, just give us what y'all would spend on catering for X-Men, and we'll just work with that. Stay out of our way.
Basically. It was. Technically, it's a very simple movie. It's a very small scale movie. It's not the grand CGI, massive, global apocalypse scale like most superhero movies go to nowadays. It was actually really simple. It was just a guy trying to get his girl back.
Yep.
It was very simple, but
cut and dry.
But the writing, the directing, the action, all of that was so well done.
So well done.
Because, again, creative people got to do what creative people do. And they were like, y'all, just please let us do this. Just please. And it took them a while to actually convince them to let them do it as an R-rated film.
Yeah, like even after that test footage leak, quotation figures. You can't see my quotation figures, but test footage. No, let us make this fucking movie footage is what it was.
Whoops! Oops! That was a mistake.
So yeah, it's like Ryan Reynolds just I accidentally hit the send key. Now it's in the ether.
Yeah, and then after that happened, there was nothing they could do.
It is because you they showed that clip to studio executives at Fox, and they were just like, "Oh, we don't get it, and it's too weird. People aren't going to understand. Why is he talking to the camera so much?" There was a whole lot of fucking naysaying.
Yeah,
and Ryan Reynolds was in the gang.
Yeah,
we're just like, you know what?
Boop.
Enter.
Yeah,
and the internet lost its fucking mind.
Which was actually a great move on their part.
Such a brilliant strategy move. Just throw it out there. Show people what you got, and hell, it's like my uncle always told me, you're only rewarded for what you produce. And Ryan Reynolds and the gang got it fucking done.
Yeah.
And now we have what may very well be one of, if not the best Marvel movie
to date.
Now,
I actually have kind of an experience with producers and companies. I did a commercial called Pack Rat, 1-800-PACK-RAT. It's a really simple commercial, but it was like a series of commercials, really goofy, silly commercials. And I read the script and I liked it, and the format and the other talent that was there was a lot of fun. I believe our friend Austin Silver was also in the episodes. Our comedian friend Austin Silver.
Oh, okay.
He played like the dad or something in that, and he's totally dad material. He just looks commercial dad. Okay, he just looks like a commercial dad. But the character that I played was
like that Folgers coffee dad.
Exactly. He looks like one of those guys just close up. Oh, it's gonna be a good day, and he just goes out like his kids are just behind him, just throwing dog crap at the back of his head, and he's just like just running nose. He's but he takes that one sip of Folgers, just like it's gonna be a good day. Like that's him. That would be the commercial he would be in. But anyway, the character that I ended up getting was the remote guy. That's his only name. He was a guy who has a remote. The joke was. The character is like this guy had a question about how to move a cat, like if you're moving to a different place. These are giant shipping crates. That's what the Pack Rat company is.
Okay.
And is like someone asked us how to move a cat, and we suggested a cat carrier or a pet carrier.
Yeah.
Apparently he misunderstood, and it shows me with a giant remote, and there's like a stuffed animal cat attached to like one of those remote control helicopters, and it just takes off into the air. And supposedly I fly it around, and it hits like an electric pole, and you hear and the cat goes falling. And it's like a funny bit. It's a funny bit. And the first time we talked to the director, him and me were like, okay, here's what we're going to do. And basically we had the way we had the character was almost retarded. Was but never go full retard. And we didn't go full retard, but it was still borderline retarded, like very silly. After we did a couple shots, we're laughing and we're having fun, and it was good. And then the people that are behind in the little tent, behind the director, all of them wear suits. I swear, there was 4 of them, suits, ties, and they just stood up, and they brought the director over, and they all huddled around him.
Wait, so this was live action the whole time?
Yeah, this was live action.
Oh, okay, I was picturing like a cartoon Pack Rat and shit.
No. This is live action.
Well, this sounds kind of zany. Wait, no, this sounds too.
I might even link the video to this podcast.
They drew a stuffed cat on a helicopter.
But anyway, they talked to the director, and after like 10 minutes, he comes back. He's like, "All right, okay. Apparently, we can't do it too retarded because the producers, the company says they don't want to offend retarded people." And I was like, well, I'm not actually being retarded. We're not actually offending. Like, if anyone has a cat on a remote control, that's the demographic we should offend. It's people that put cats on remote controls. Like, man, well, I guess we shouldn't do that anymore.
Hey, if C. Thomas Howell can be a black man, Timothy Banfield can be a retard, okay?
I don't know if I'm okay with this. But anyway... So we talked about it, and then we played it differently. We toned it down, and it wasn't as funny anymore. It killed a lot of it. Like I wish I had the footage of like the first tries, because we were just practicing. I didn't really have that many lines, so it was like really a lot of improv. But then we cut it down, and we kind of like toned down my facial expression and toned down my words and played them normal. And it just wasn't as funny anymore. And so that's the experience that I have with producers really killing talented vibe, because they're afraid to offend, and they want to make more money, and
too afraid to not be PC.
Yeah, too afraid to be PC, and it that's what I think is happening a lot.
No, they're too afraid to not be PC. Like,
PC
as possible.
Yeah, they're trying to be as politically correct as possible. Yet at the same time,
don't
want
to offend anybody.
Yeah, but at the same time, not being politically correct, because when you go too politically correct, you end up having only cookie cutter characters.
You end up with the Teletubbies.
Yeah, you end up with the Teletubbies, where it's just genderless, all colors, no personality whatsoever. And
I'm stoned. Like, what the fuck?
Tinky Winky fell down. Oh, by the way, if y'all don't know who the Teletubbies are, y'all live in a blessed world.
Oh, you are so lucky.
So lucky. But I like that Deadpool was, even though I'm not a big fan of intense profanity, but they made it funny in this.
Well, I mean, it wasn't for me, at no point did it feel like swearing just for the sake of swearing.
Yeah.
Like, there was kind of a point to it,
Yeah,
like,
it was actually integrated into the things that they were saying. Like, for example, this isn't really a spoiler, but when him and the girlfriend are going back and forth with like talking about how their lives are, whose lives are worse. That was hilarious.
Oh my god, dude!
The banter, the dialogue, the
chemistry
was so good in this movie.
Everybody in this movie had such great chemistry.
Yeah, he had better chemistry with her than I think Superman and Lois Lane have in any of the movies ever. I doubt you.
No, I'm not even going to dispute that.
Okay.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And it felt a little bit more real. Didn't it feel, even though it was cartoony and over the top, it actually felt a little bit more real because it was over the top.
Wade and Vanessa are the next Ross and Rachel.
Yes, they are. Yes. Again, I dare you.
They're a national treasure. Bringing it back, bro.
Nobody has heard heard my old podcast. Nobody has heard my old podcast. You've been on my old podcast.
Bringing it back for the first time. No.
You've been on my old podcast, which was a lot more random. This I wanted to be a little bit more focused. But when that podcast is back up, I'll have a link to it. I'll have a link to it.
Definitely.
Now, before we end this, I want to talk about one more movie that's coming up. The next two, let's say two superhero movies that are coming up that we're really hyped for.
Batman v Superman.
Batman v Superman and Civil War.
Civil War.
Those are really the two. I mean, there are others.
Okay, one thing I would really like to just go ahead and get off my chest about Batman v Superman, specifically about the very last trailer that just came out, the final trailer.
The final trailer,
titled,
which should have been the only trailer.
The one that was actually played right before Deadpool started playing.
I think they fired the guy who did the last trailer.
Where the was this trailer the whole time? Like, this is literally the one and only trailer we ever fucking needed for this film.
Thank you. Whoever did that last trailer,
fire him
by the
or
way,
her. I don't
it had a different feel. Did you notice that this trailer and the one before it had a completely different feel?
Yep.
Which trailers are cut, edited, and produced by a different team than the movie. It actually is true. There's a different team that puts together the trailer than the people that actually direct and put together the movie. And I feel like whoever did the last one totally fired. And they brought in someone to all right, okay, we want people to forget about...
The internet has spoken. The internet has spoken. You have f***ed up. Please.
Everyone has thumbs you down.
Stand on this chunk of ice as we cast you off to sea.
In a warm, warm sea. Stand on the iceberg. See if you can make it to England.
Carry on my wayward son.
Yeah, exactly.
You
get it. You get it.
That person.
I posted
human being.
I posted a theory. For my idea of Batman v Superman involving Doomsday. We all know it's Doomsday. We all know a Doomsday-ish. I'm going to say that now. Doomsday-ish thing is involved in this trailer. My idea. Here's my theory. Is that it's actually Bizarro. Mind blow. No.
Before it turns into Superman.
But
then what would be the point in having it look so close to almost Doomsday?
It's a precursor to Doomsday. Because I don't remember Doomsday ever having the heat vision, which they gave to this. Versions of Bizarro did have heat vision. And Bizarro, in some versions, is a clone of Superman, and some versions he's a clone of Zod. Same thing with Doomsday. They're actually very similar. I'm hoping, very much hoping, that they actually fix this by saying, no, that wasn't Doomsday. That's not going to be our Doomsday. That's Bizarro. And he just comes in for the last 10 minutes just so Batman and Superman go, all right, well, you know what? Let's be buds for a second and just fight this guy. And then after a while he goes, you're pretty cool. You're a pretty cool guy. You're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, I think when the creature gets loose is probably how Lex is going to lose his hair.
Oh, yeah.
And
sometime around that point.
Third theory, I think Batman's suit that he wears to fight Superman is actually Zod's old suit. They actually backwards engineered alien technology to create a suit for Batman to wear. And Lex helps Bruce Wayne, Batman, create this suit. Those are my theories for... If they go this way, I'll be way more happy.
I don't think Lex would be involved with the making of the suit, just because at that point it would be way too unless he makes a deal with Batman himself,
which I think
not
he does.
Bruce Wayne.
He does.
Batman.
He totally does. You hear him say, "If man won't kill God, then the devil will have to do it." So he obviously was invested in the whole man-killing God
But that
thing.
doesn't necessarily mean he was directly invested.
No,
he could have been more of behind the scenes,
like he was
puppet
just placing
master,
bets down on the table.
Yeah, just kind of instigating the situation, like, hey, Batman,
kick that dude's ass real quick, But we do know that Lex Luthor has a lot of technology and a lot of investment in space because he has a satellite. In the previous movie, we do see that he has a satellite. So he has space technology. He's rich, super smart in the comic books. So he's one of the few people in the DC universe that if the government was to come to about backwards engineering stuff, it would be Lex Luthor. He's also the person who gets a hold of Zod's corpse. So the government obviously trusts him with that too. So if they are going to give him,
even know he has it,
if they do, well, you do see the military walk the corpse in.
They could be, like mercenaries.
That is true. Or they could be like spies for him, and they were just wearing it, and they were just like walking the suit in, like they stole it.
Yeah.
They're like coming in, they're like, oh, the commander wants to see this body. We're going to load it in the back of this van that says Lex on it. And they just drive away. And they're like, all right, it's fine. It's the government. It's cool. It's fine. The government doesn't ask questions, right?
These aren't the droids we're looking for. Let them through.
Exactly.
No. Okay, but like I know it's getting about that time, but before we go, we have got to get into that first 30 seconds of that trailer, dude.
The first 30 seconds. The Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman beatdown.
The Batman.
The Batman beatdown.
The Batmans.
Okay, first of all, this is a different Batman than The Dark Knight, which, by the way, one of my absolute favorite interpretations of The Dark Knight, because it's realistic, and it's set in a universe that isn't Superman.
Yeah.
And it's the Nolan version of Batman is kind of like this is the real Batman, and then everything we know about Batman has basically been, what is it, Daniel Bowie'd.
Yeah, no.
Like it's been exaggerated. This is the comic book Batman. This is the Arkham Knight Batman.
Like the way I see it is Nolan's Batman was what Batman would most likely be like had he existed in the real world.
Right.
And this Batman is what Nolan's Batman wishes he could be.
This is the poster that Batman has in his little shrine.
This is the Batman Christian Bale's Batman masturbates to at night. Like, holy shit, I wish I had that skill, bro. Like, did you see, like he just takes that guy.
If y'all haven't seen this trailer.
Like, spoiler alert, like a month, you know what?
This is not a spoiler alert. This is a trailer. This is not spoiler. He throws down. This Batman, which, by the way, when this movie was announced and they said that Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, that was the first thing that people complained about. Now, that is the last thing that anyone's going to be concerned about.
Everybody's just like, no, okay.
He totally got
Batman.
That's Batman. We're fine. We're good. We're actually more upset with Alfred than we are with him as Batman. We're like, Alfred's a little too young, isn't he? And they're like, Wonder Woman's too small and skinny. Lex Luthor has hair. Doomsday's coming in too soon.
But my complaint with Lex Luthor is Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes. Damn. It should have been the guy from Breaking Bad. We all admit that it should have been the guy from Breaking Bad.
It should have been Heisenberg.
It should have been Heisenberg.
Or at least Giancarlo Esposito, you know?
You're saying anyone would have been better?
Anybody but Jesse Eisenberg. He would have been a better Riddler. I think Jesse Eisenberg would have been an awesome
amazing Riddler. In fact, he would have been also a pretty good Joker, too.
Which is funny because I heard a rumor that apparently Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory is supposed to be signed up to be the Riddler in one of the upcoming Batman solo films. Or at least it's talked about. It's, it's a rumor, whatever. Honestly, I just wish they would find some way to say, oh, no, that wasn't Lex Luthor. That was actually the Riddler the whole time. As stupid as it would be, I just wanted, I would rather.
No, because that would be Gotham, the TV show, doing it. That's what the Gotham TV show has been going. The TV shows of superheroes suck, especially Gotham. Gotham is the worst.
Whoa.
Not the worst.
Whoa.
Smallville, then Gotham, in that order, from bottom up.
If we're only talking about those two, fine.
Okay, what would you put as like your worst? Heroes is Heroes, Smallville. No. You know what? Smallville goes below Heroes. It really does. I'm sorry, because Smallville had expectations and had something to live up to. Heroes had nothing to play off of.
Smallville was okay for what it was, where it was.
Okay.
And when it was.
Except for the fact that they totally ruined the lore and the powers of Superman.
Oh, my God.
And they brought in Doomsday too soon.
6 seasons I hung in there. And I'm just like, wait, no, so we've already established the Justice League. We're about to establish Doomsday, and the is still in high school? Like, what the is going on? 10 years. Graduate, Clark.
And then you see him wear the suit and sort of wear the suit and fly at the very end, and you never fully see
that
him.
all-black trench coat, Matrix-looking motherfucker.
It's just terrible.
Like, did y'all really hate the red and blue suit that much? Could even just give him like a red trench coat and a blue shirt. Like,
well, you're not even trying. You gave him the red jacket.
Not even trying to color coordinate in this bitch.
But yeah, that's so Smallville's definitely worse than Heroes. Heroes had a few good seasons, but Smallville was wrong from the beginning. It was wrong from the beginning. No, Smallville was wrong from the beginning. Come on. Come on. The girlfriend?
I still like it better than Lois and Clark.
Lois and Clark was actually good.
I mean,
because he actually got to use his powers. He was actually Superman, and she was actually Lois Lane.
But it was the kind of cheesy it was, though. Like I don't know. Like I guess that's why why I'm in that minority that really like Snyder's Man of Steel so much, as opposed to the more lighter-hearted version that everybody was looking for.
Yeah.
Just like
I don't want to see a lighthearted Superman. I really don't.
I don't want to see a
because
goofy, lighthearted Superman.
Having that kind of power is a burden. It's not something like, hey, I'm super.
We had that once. It was Superman 3, and it never needs to happen again.
Exactly. Stuff like that already happened. Those movies exist if you want them. Go watch them. But we need a darker Superman. And we need a Superman that's nerfed, by the way.
Nerfed?
Nerfed, brought down. Not as powerful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thinking like Nerf herder.
Scruffy looking Nerf herder. But no, we need a Superman that's brought down, and I know that people object to that, but no, we really do, because otherwise the scale of his threat and the scale of his personal endangerment and what he has to do to accomplish being a hero is become more powerful with more, weaker he is.
But clearly, Zack Snyder played a lot of in Arkham Origins.
Apparently, yes.
The whole Arkham series.
Yes,
he's
the whole
an Arkham
thing.
fan.
Yes, because Batman fights
it's
exactly.
So fucking brutal, dude. Like, hell, actually, I think he's even more brutal than in the Arkham series. Like the way he was like just
those guys
on
dead.
These dudes,
those guys are dead.
That very last guy he dropped, where the spine's all bent, the feet are in the air and shit.
His head is flat.
Go back and rewatch that shit.
Dead.
Go back and rewatch that shit. No. Not even so much as he's dead, but if you want to know how hardcore this Batman is, go back and rewatch that shit. Dude has the knife in his thigh as Batman's chucking him to the fucking ground.
I mean, we already knew that Batman kills because we also see that dream sequence with the dark side bug guys flying in the background where he snaps a dude's neck. Batman hardcore kills in this, and I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah, no, he snaps a guy's neck. He totally Supermaned him.
He's got a grenade.
Man of Steel. That's what we're calling it. You
Yeah.
got Man of Steel.
He got Man of Steel.
Back in the '90s, it was you got Steven Seagal. Now it's you got Man of Steel.
You got Man of Steel. Yes, that's what we're gonna call it. But I'm okay. I'm actually looking forward to this. The people that I'm not looking forward to is Wonder Woman. She's no. Lex Luthor, God no.
Eisenberg is on the bottom of my list.
And Doomsday. I hope he has a very, very small part in this.
As far as Doomsday is concerned, I get the feeling that what we saw in the trailer is probably a very early stage.
Right.
Because if you remember in
Larva
the comics,
stage, yeah.
If you remember in the comics, it's like as Doomsday takes damage, like he starts, like those rocks
become more and more,
start building up. So I feel like that's probably just the beta stage.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Frieza's first form.
And I'm hoping we really get a good Doomsday later on. A real Superman Doomsday brawl where Superman dies. I hope that doesn't happen here. I hope that happens later. That's what I hope happens.
Although there's a rumor I heard. I kind of hope it's true because I don't think it's that bad of an idea. But basically, they were saying that what was supposed to happen, what might be happening with Doomsday is, even though they're introducing him, and it's way too soon to really introduce him for the sake of the death versus, Superman.
Right.
Excuse me, burping into the mic and shit. No, he's basically after the fight, they basically end up throwing him into the Phantom Zone, and he disappears for a while, and will be back for a future film, which I assume would be the Death and Return of Superman.
How are they going to throw him in the Phantom Zone, though?
They've already established the Phantom Zone with Man of Steel.
I know they have, but which of the characters are going to have that ability?
Oh, Kal-El, of course.
He's gonna have the ability to just like open the
hello, he's got a space dad and a computer chip.
He's dead. Remember, he got deleted in the previous film.
Oh, shit.
He did get deleted.
Did he?
He got totally wiped.
No. That's got to be Fortress of Solitude, bro. It's got to be
okay. I do actually kind of hope he's still in the Fortress of Solitude.
No,
but he totally got wiped you see him just get delete, and it's just like gone.
Although Russell Crowe for Jarrell for the win.
Yeah.
He was actually a really good Jarrell.
Yeah.
Like, I hope he makes a comeback. Like, yeah.
I do too. I
fighting around the world.
Yeah. Speaking of the suits, this is one of the things that makes me think that the suit actually plays a point. Some people were saying that that Zod's people had superpowers from the beginning, right when they landed on Earth. But that's not true, because you see Zod develop powers slowly. The suits literally gave them powers. It literally gave the ability to fight, do all this. Here's one of the rings that I think that is 100% true, is because right before Jarrell fights Zod on Krypton, he puts on a suit. If the suits didn't mean anything, he wouldn't need to wear it.
Well, I mean, it's the same as body armor, man.
Well, yeah.
Just, protective gear in general. It's like, hey, you might need this fight to last.
We do see him, jump down skyscraper of rocks face first into water, land on a dragon, have things blasted out. I don't think he cares. He'll be more nimble, but you really feel the weight of them wearing the suits. So I really think that the suits actually have purpose and actually give them strength, and that's why the others were able to leap incredibly high, fight tanks and planes, and fight Superman. And if they were able to fight Superman, go toe-to-toe with him in the other film, and Batman is wearing one of those, that is my theory. And I hope that happens.
I don't know. I do find that kind of interesting, though. Sure, they're just, they just showed up. They're just getting used to the powers, even though they seem to get a handle of it pretty quick.
Yeah.
But still, these are military trained, like warriors, soldiers, like that. They've trained their whole lives just to fight, and they're getting their asses kicked by a Kansas City farm boy.
Have you ever met a Kansas City farm boy? Hey, can whoop some ass.
I'm just saying, America.
America. But yeah, if the producers and the studio doesn't have anything to do with it, you have good movies, but I feel like they've had way too many hands in this movie, because they're putting way too many people in the movie to try to. They actually said with the last Spider-Man movie, the more bad guys, the more characters, the more seats and the more people in the seats, and that is what's wrong with the producers.
And that's why Infinity Wars is just going to be Marvel literally throwing everything against the wall and seeing.
But they've actually built up for it, so that's the right way of doing it. Marvel's the right way of doing it. DC is the wrong way.
DC is
Marvel all the way.
DC is you could tell just by the movies they're coming out with and everything that they're playing a serious game of catch up right now.
They are. It's sad.
Like, okay, we probably should have started this shit back in 2009. So Suicide Squad. Let's just get all the villains out the way.
Basically. All right. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. This is Timothy Banfield, a.k.a. Funny Guy Timmy, on the Funny Guy Timmy podcast, and this was my guest,
comedian Devin Powell, a.k.a. rapper RhymerMan.
He also has a YouTube channel. Go ahead and plug that for yourself.
That is youtube.com/Tall Negro.
I like how he doesn't think people know YouTube and can't just go to YouTube. www is http www.
No, that's the great thing about the internet. You don't have to do that shit no more.
No, thank you. Thank you, whoever did that. Thank you, Al Gore.
It's like, well, we already know it's going to be www. Do we really have to keep typing it in? It's like, it's a great... Get that man a promotion and a cookie.
High five. 2 high fives.
Would you like to f my wife, sir? That was an awesome idea.
Wow. All right. Thank you guys for listening, and catch you later. Peace.
Night, y'all.